K-pop Demon Hunter, the new phenomenon, and it seems like a lot of you guys have actually watched it, which is interesting. I mean, I guess that's obvious. It should have been clear because you don't damn near become Netflix's most watched movie ever on their streaming service without a whole bunch of people seeing it. Okay, so let's talk about this thing because it's a phenomenon. It just was open in theaters. Guys, we talk about opening weekends a lot, right? For the comic book movies, that's kind of our thing here. But this thing just took #1 at the weekend box office. Okay, so just walk with me on this because it's kind of fascinating. This film just became #1 at the global box office this weekend. Now, what makes that even more crazy is, #1, it's a movie that has been available on Netflix for months at this point, okay? And again, not just available, but watched. This thing is on track to become the most watched Netflix movie of all time within the next couple of weeks. I think Red Notice is the current king of that. And I think K-pop Demon Hunter is only less than 50 million views behind that. And on top of that, K-pop Demon Hunter is averaging like 20 to 25 million views a week right now. Okay, now this is obviously this is a big phenomenon, but the other thing that's happening is because it's that kind of movie like Frozen or Frozen 2 or like, I don't know, if y'all have kids, it's basically a Bluey movie, okay, is what I'm trying to say, where kids will latch on to a film or a show and they just want to watch that one particular movie or that one particular show all the time. Okay, every parent knows this. Kids have that one movie that they just watch over and over again. You know, for my one buddy, it was like Frozen 2. His daughter just wouldn't stop watching Frozen 2. Liam's version of that for a while was Lilo and Stitch, but he obviously likes Bluey and stuff too. But he's very, very... he gets that same way, right? So K-pop Demon Hunter became a movie that wasn't just watched a lot, but was rewatched a lot. And because of the musical element of the film, it holds a lot of value as you watch it over and over and over and over again. So let's go back to the box office because this is fascinating. So #1 on the box office, okay? Not only #1 on the box office, #1 on the box office with a single fucking day of showings. They didn't have showings on Friday. They didn't have showings on Sunday. Okay? On top of that, AMC, who maybe isn't the biggest theater chain in North America, but one of the biggest theater chains in North America, AMC said, we're not going to show this shit because they have like an ongoing feud with Netflix. I forget the exact reason that all went down, but AMC has a boycott of putting Netflix stuff into their theaters. This goes back years. Because what Netflix will essentially do, and this is probably what they did with K-pop Demon Hunter, is they'll do a limited release in order to get around some of the rules so that their stuff can win an Oscar or be eligible for awards within the Hollywood system. So that's probably what they were doing with K-pop Demon Hunter, okay? But I want you to really think about that. Put that in context. That is fucking crazy. The movie's been available for months. Everybody's watching it. It's not like it's been available and nobody's watching it. Everybody's fucking watching it. It was pushed as a single day release, and one of the major North American theater chains said no. And it's the biggest weekend, it's the biggest movie this fucking weekend, guys. Okay? And Netflix isn't even reporting the full numbers. And this is another side of the story that I think is just so funny. Like, I told you this is a fun story. You know, you're like, K-pop Demon Hunter, shut up, dude, this is a really fun story. Check this out. The other side of this that's so funny is all the Hollywood people are fucking mad at Netflix. They're fucking mad at Netflix. We follow Luis Fernando all the time. Great box office analyst, in my opinion. Although super biased towards Superman, that's fine. Does good reporting. Dude, Luis is fucking mad, dude. He's like burning Netflix. He's an anti-Netflix channel. He's become the fandom menace for fucking Netflix. It's crazy to watch in real time. He's mad because Netflix is #1, not even reporting these numbers because Netflix doesn't want you to know how good they were. Okay? Like, think about that. Netflix does not want anybody to know how much money they made this weekend with this movie in theaters. Because they don't want to bolster the theatrical experience at all. So, oh my God, what does this say? I mean, this is so crazy. I mean, what does this say about the state of Hollywood? What does this say about the state of entertainment? What does this say about the state of corporations? What is it? Dude, it's a fascinating tale. There's so many different angles to this, right? But I think one of the angles I'd like to mention is that Sony gonna Sony. Okay, Sony gonna Sony. Now, from what I understand, this movie was developed for around $100 million at Sony. And this pitch was picked up by somebody in the Sony animation department. It's the same department that makes all the Spider-Verse films. So somebody at Sony identified this thing, and apparently they spent about $100 million developing this, okay? But the people at Sony were they didn't think they had anything. They were like, yo, this shit is not worth anything. They sold it to Netflix for what is reported as $20 million. So, first of all, Sony was willing to take an $80 million loss, offload it, sell it, probably like write down the loss or whatever. And they basically like David Zaslav this thing, but they do end up selling it, okay? More like the Looney Tune movie that got purchased than the Batgirl movie. But the point is this. Netflix takes this thing, and like the thing about Netflix is like, I don't know. They just take a lot of shots. I mean, Netflix does a lot right. I think they're a technology-based company. I think their algorithm's incredible. They have a ruthless corporate culture. But even Netflix doesn't fully understand everything that they have, and I don't think they take full advantage of some of the things that pop off for that platform either. But they obviously have this huge global base. They're the Coca-Cola of streaming. Everybody has Netflix. So this movie catches on. And it really catches on, which, by the way, the lady that created this thing, the K-pop element was the last thing she added. She had a really cool fantasy demon story. She adds the element of K-pop kind of last minute. Okay, now that's pretty wild because that's kind of a brilliant stroke considering what's going on in the world right now. And we've talked a lot about anime, Eastern culture. You know, in some ways, the West has almost like regressed or you know, been stuck in this weird purgatory while certain cultures around the world have been breaking some serious ground, and not just in entertainment, but in technologies as well, like Japan and that synthetic blood. And, you know, anyway, without getting too distracted, it's a fascinating time right now in the global marketplace. And this thing, by tapping into that K-pop energy, I mean, goddamn, bro. Like, what a fucking slam dunk of a combination. Peanut butter jelly style. Like, it fits together beautifully. So, the other thing I'll say before, you know, talking about the prospects, how big could this get exactly and what should Netflix do with it, is, dude, I saw this thing. It was good, man. I mean, I expected it to be competent. You know, that's what you would expect for something that's being consumed that much, right? Like, it would be hard for it to have a lot of hard edges and be that palatable to that many people. But sitting down and actually watching the thing, I was like, damn, like, there's actually some really good writing in here. You know, there's a couple of scenes in particular that really hit home for me. I was like, wow, that's actually really good. A couple of things I like about the film. It's not afraid of desire and sexuality. Even though it's for kids, there's an element of desire in this that just feels like normal and natural. And I think the Western gatekeepers of media, like a lot of corporate people, have tried to sanitize all of our entertainment. And this includes, you know, children's stuff, from having any bit of desire or love or like authentic thing, right? It's been like really weird. This movie, like, the dudes are cool, suave, and hot. You know what I mean? And the chicks are like good looking and funny and not afraid to be wooed. You know what I mean? Like, there's stuff going on in this movie that I think just it stands antithetical to a lot of what Disney and a lot of Western corporate considerations have kind of been doing to media in the West for, I don't know, 5-6 years at least. And I definitely noticed that. I was like, wow, that's really interesting, right? That the ability for them to just kind of go for it in that way. I mean, you know, it's going to sound so trite, but it's like the girls are girls, the guys are guys. It's like distinct and just feels fucking normal as fuck. You know what I mean? And in that sense, it doesn't like set off any alarm bells. And I think that's probably a part of the success for the thing, right? Now, the other thing is like, and I can't necessarily, I mean, it's not doing it for me. I don't like musicals, and I'm not a big singer. I like to sing, you know, in the shower when I'm alone. But I'm not like really into that. It's not something I would like do or whatever. However, you can't deny that there's something about that is just a different value proposition than just going to see a movie in the theater. I think one of the things that Hollywood is like not figured out is like, what is the value proposition of going to a theater? And I think right now it's mostly just like, because you're supposed to know that that's good. Like there's almost like this built-in nostalgia for like our people, our generation or whatever, like of the theater experience. And, you know, other than that, and maybe, you know, you don't want spoilers, what really is the reason to go? And this reminds me a little bit of, I know that Taylor Swift thing was very, very popular a couple of years ago. We talked about that too, right? We talked about that because she worked outside of Hollywood with that deal, which was really interesting. She worked right with the distributors, cut Hollywood out, and Hollywood was pretty pissed about it. But it actually was very, very successful. And I think a big reason why was like it felt, number one, as an experience, you know, popping into the zeitgeist, becoming an experience. But number two, like you're tangibly there to like have a sing-along, experience it with fans. The reason you go to a concert is like you want the vibes, you want the energy, you want to feel it. You know what I mean? And of course, it's an experience as well. But that is not easy to replicate in just a movie, just a narrative. And Hollywood keeps trying to figure out ways to do it and maybe replicate that. I am pretty interested to see how much further this thing goes and what does it mean for the future. As far as I understand, they're developing 2 sequels for this thing. And I got to tell you, man, like, I think this thing's going to be a fucking billion-dollar franchise. If Netflix wanted to, I bet they could open the next one in theater, do a full-ass theatrical run, and make $500, $600, $700, $800 million, maybe even $1 billion fucking dollars in the movie theater. Now, they're probably not even going to do that. They'll probably just make several more on Netflix, but maybe the cultural impact will be the same. And one must wonder, like, is there a hybrid version of this where there's a lot of box office made in the theaters? Is, you know, what is the limit of how this IP could be franchised, commercialized, et cetera, because it's fresh, it's new, it's resonating with the youth. And then this is, I think, the thing. If you're a Marvel fan, maybe really listen to what I'm about to say here, because I think this is something that Marvel fans don't fully appreciate about how we used to be on top. I wasn't dragged to this movie, but like if I didn't have a kid, you know, if my wife wasn't really into this shit, like I'm not going to go see this movie in theaters, right? But I know what it is. I know about the phenomenon. I know all of this stuff. I kind of get taken to see the film, and I end up enjoying it. Now, what does that mean? It means, like, number one, I'm going to be more open to seeing the next one. In fact, I'm actually, like, a little interested in some of the story. It's kind of feels corny to say, but, like, I want to know what happened to the main demon dude. I want to know what's the deal with her mom and the demon dad and all that sort of stuff, right? So, like, I'm actually invested a little bit at this point. And all it took for me to get invested was know that people really like it, sit down to give it a try, and it's decent. Actually, I liked it. Bro, that's exactly what happened with the fucking Marvel Cinematic Universe. Bro, we were telling everybody, oh my God, it's so cool. We love this shit. Oh, it's so awesome. And then a bunch of grandmas, aunts, uncles, like kind of slowly got dragged in for Infinity War, maybe some of the other films. And they're like, hey, this ain't bad. I actually will watch that Endgame movie. And then it became like the biggest movie ever. So that is like how this kind of stuff can happen, man. And I just think this is another example of like, you know, we talk about the zeitgeist a lot, and it's like, you know, what does that even really mean? You know, we roughly understand what it is. And to me, I think the zeitgeist is hungry for something new, man. I think everybody's hungry for something new and something fresh. And that is why Kpop Demon Hunter might be the next MCU. What if the next Kpop Demon Hunter does better than Doomsday? What then, chat?